since there was talk of cutbacks in city services, there has been apprehension about the budget. So much, in fact, that the City Council asked the city manager to issue a memorandum on the subject. The memorandum was sent to department heads telling them not to talk about the budget with members of the press. It said information could be misinterpreted by the citizens of Oklahoma City. The city manager says he was just doing what the City Council asked him to do.
Council in the public meeting yesterday, City Council meeting, requested the city manager to direct the department heads not to issue statements regarding possible budget impacts of possible changes in the budget.
And he said the memorandum would probably stay in effect until the City Council holds public hearings on the budget. Bella Shaw, News Center 4.
From Oklahoma's first television station, this is News Center 4 Update.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linda Cavanaugh. Brad Edwards has the evening off. There was an unusual nighttime meeting at the state capitol this evening. Bella Shaw was there and is in studio now to tell us about it. Bella?
The chaos started when the House passed a bill to do some construction work in the McAllister prison. The bill went to the Senate for its approval. The only problem was that the Senate had already gone home for the weekend. Now, there wouldn't have been a problem normally, except that the construction bid expires at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So, the Senate had to come back to pass the bill. If they hadn't, and the construction bid had expired, the new bid could have been $1 million more. And so the lawmakers had to be rounded up. Many senators had to fly in from the far corners of the state. Most had already gone home for the weekend, and the last thing they had on their mind was coming back. But some were lucky, like Senator Boatner of Durant. He has his own private plane. While the senators were coming in, Governor Nye was leaving. He apparently wasn't too worried about the corrections bill.
If they're coming to town, I'm leaving.
He headed off to Tulsa to attend a funeral. Said he'd be back tomorrow before the deadline. Some thought the special session kind of funny. Senator Stipe joked about it. Coming back.
Well, it's exciting. I had to come back to see Senator Watson anyhow. Had to come back.
You quit building fields?
Right.
And then lawmakers went in for the actual voting. It was very casual. By the time the final senators had been rounded up, the bill had passed. And then it was back to the planes that brought them here to ensure that the legislative process works properly.
That must have been something trying to round them up.
Well, at least the old criticism about lawmakers wasting taxpayers' money does not apply tonight because they saved us about $1 million.
Well, that's true. Thank you, Bella.
These are Calvin Klein jeans. They carry the Calvin Klein label on the back pocket, and they sell for $40 a pair. What some people have been doing is taking the label off, sewing them on another pair of jeans, and then trying to sell the pair for $40.
The trick has already been pulled in Alabama, but a check with Oklahoma City stores showed their shipments legit. Name brands include Sassoon, Anne Klein, Calvin Klein, and Gloria Vanderbilt. People pay a lot of money for the designer label. They swear each designer has a different fit. But some say they're only paying for the label. And apparently there's big money on the black market. So store owners should protect themselves.
And if they sell us a product that is not what they represent, we send it back to them. Because we deal as a corporation that is very big and very powerful in our buying. And they're not going to jeopardize shipping a bad product to one store and losing out several hundred stores by doing that.
Now, there are ways to make sure you are buying the real designer jeans. For example, these Calvin Klein jeans. You can always check the label. You can also check the buttons and snaps. Many times they'll have the designer's signature engraved in them. And there is one designer jean that's hard to pass off as an imitation. Gloria Vanderbilt's. Her jeans have the name sewn into them, making it very difficult to pass it off as an imitation. Bella Shaw, News Center 4.
14-year-old Jerry Hickerson of Piedmont had taken off his shoes and gone for a swim. Later, a rescue team was looking for his body. The young boy had been in the water playing with his sister and some friends when he suddenly went under and did not come back up. The pond where he drowned was 20 feet deep in places. The victim's 17-year-old brother, Dale, went into shock when he heard the news and in a panic jumped into the water. Police tried to console the brother and told him he would be better needed at home with his family, a half a mile away from the cattle pond. Perhaps when the young boy's body is found, the family can begin to deal with the reality of his death. Bella Shaw, News Center 4.
More than 50 cars were in the motorcade that brought President Carter into downtown Belgrade. A flatbed truck carrying Press Pool 20, American reporters and photographers, was in front. In fact, too far in front. At times, cameramen couldn't even see the president's car, much less take a picture of it.
Slow it down! No, slow it down! You slow this truck down!
Despite the urging of White House aide Rick Moore, the driver continued to roar along at top speed, preferring to heed the advice of an overzealous Yugoslav security agent in the cab of the truck, who didn't like the idea of photographers getting very close to the heads of state. Then there was another problem.
We don't go to the palace, we go to the tomb!
The truck was supposed to go directly to Tito's tomb, rather than to the presidential palace where the driver was heading.
Down, everybody down! Is anybody down? No, 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 no.
Again, a breakdown in communication.
No, we don't, no! We go to the tomb!
Press Pool 20 finally made it to its destination. Or almost. John Palmer, NBC News, somewhere near the presidential party in Belgrade.
I, for one, am going to go back to using these, even though they'll look totally ridiculous under a new black bikini I bought. Bella Shaw, News Center 4. Help! We'll save these for our goof reels.
Tell me about the wire, Bill. Come on.
So University Hospital is trying to improve their wiring. That project is now underway. Bella Shaw, News Center 4. This woman was one of Governor Nye's students at McAllister High School. She's now the star of the NBC soap opera Texas.
Texas, starring Beverly McKinsey.
That's where she's singing.
Governor Nye and his wife watched their debut with staff members at the Capitol.
This is it.
There we are.
Governor Nye, it's an honor. It's good to see you.
Nice to see you, Alex. You know Donna.
How do you, Donna?
Nice to see you, Alex.
Hello, Connie. Sam. Hope you enjoy the show, George.
You bet. Thank you.
That was it.
That's it, gang.
But it really wasn't. Nye's former student had invited the two to be on the show taped 2 weeks ago while they were in New York.
Mr. Curtis, who's that guy you was just talking to?
That's Governor Nye and his wife of Oklahoma.
George and Donna had everybody fooled. They thought they were professional actors. They were each paid $175 for their performance, but the governor said the real payoff came in publicity for the state.
Can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain. Oklahoma, every night my honey lamb and I.
Bella Shaw, News Center 4.
And by the way,
should the governor be able to use a state plane and state taxpayers' money to go to the World Series game in Kansas City? I'm Bella Shaw, and I'll have that story coming up.
good evening, everyone. I'm Linda Cavanaugh. Governor Nye flew to the World Series game in Kansas City yesterday in a state plane at taxpayers' expense. The trip was purely for pleasure. No business was conducted, and he says he sees nothing wrong with what he did. Reporter Bella Shaw is in the studio now with the story. Bella?
Governor Nye and his family and a security man took off for Kansas City yesterday, watched the World Series, and flew back. That raises some question about the use of taxpayers' money on so-called pleasure trips. But Governor Nye sees nothing wrong with it. He says a governor needs to be as accessible as possible. He also says he needs to carry special radio equipment and security personnel, and so it's easier to take a state plane than fly commercially.
Down to Dallas for the OU Texas weekend. I went in the state plane. I don't see how I just don't have enough time to try to differentiate between what I do here and how do you move security and how do you move your family and how do you do all those things. You just do what is natural and normal, and I think the people of Oklahoma think that the transportation for the chief executive is as normal as providing transportation for the chief executive of the United States.
The governor says using his Beechcraft King Air to make a pleasure trip is just like the President of the United States using Air Force One to go on a trip. And Nye says he believes the people expect him to use state vehicles and that they would see nothing wrong with him going to Kansas City. Is that true?
Not really. I think that he should have enough money that he could pay his own way, not use everybody else's money.
I didn't think it was too good an idea. I mean, he used my money. I didn't get to go.
He's employed the same as any other official, state official, and I think that he ought to be a little more worried about where our tax money is going.
I guess it's all right. He needs to have some relaxation and recreation, too.
Like me, I work real hard for my money, and a guy to be flying around on my money, having a good time, isn't that right? He should be taking care of the people.
Well, what does the state law say about that, though?
Use of the state plane is not strictly defined in the law, but I do know this, that use of state money for purposes not relating to work for state agencies is strictly enforced, but maybe the governor can get away with it. Maybe state employees can't.
Okay, thank you, Bella. Brad?
As we've been reporting the past 2 nights now, there has been some question about the way Nye uses the plane. The story from Bella Shaw.
Law as to whether the governor can make a trip that does not relate to official state business is not really clear. A check with the Oklahoma statute shows that nothing is really mentioned specifically. It just says that the Department of Public Safety shall provide transportation and security to the governor and members of his immediate family.